Free entertainment while we do the class. Okay, everybody, every time I do a class, the first half hour is always going to be dedicated to these two things right here. Because this is all that matters when you get down to it. Because you can buy, you got guitars, you even borrowed one. But you can't borrow these, you can't get these, you earn these. These do the work, period. It always comes back to this. And what I've found over the years is what everybody wants to do is to try and play like somebody, or you hear something that you want to play, but you have hands that can't do it. So how many have sat around just fumbled and messed it up, and finally you got it. That night you got it, about 11 o'clock at night you played it, you got up the next morning, and what happened? You couldn't do it. Why? Why? You had, somebody told you, you had tab, told you everything to do, but you couldn't do it. In all my seminars, I'll still come back to this concept that it's all about your hands. Because if you want to learn the C scale on an E ninth neck, right there it is. So we can learn where all the notes are, but then the hands have to deliver. So what most guys do is you sit around fumbling, which is the worst way to learn. You already know how frustrated, I mean, how many here have ever been frustrated playing your pedal steel? Myself. But how many have watched me play and said, well, you don't move your hand. You hardly move. Why? Well, I did drills over and over and over until I could do things, but I didn't do drills to play a specific song. I did a drill to play any song. So everybody here, I think we got, how many head count here? I got everybody, I'm going to pass you out. I did a DVD. I did all this last year, and I filmed it last year, and I'm going to give you a DVD of last year. And last year, the first 30 minutes, I just edited it. It took me a week to edit it all, was me talking about these two hands. My hands, because these are the ones I can control. You can only control yours. Now, to eliminate some of the headache, the frustration, I guarantee you, if you do my drills, who was here last year? Did you do any drills? Did they started showing up, didn't you? And you're playing where it's like, well, wait, this is, he's on to something. Because there's nothing better than to start and to actually see progress. I'm going to go through them real quick for all that you were here last year. How many beginners don't have a clue? Clueless. We got 3 absolute beginners, right? Guys, have you ever thought, well, you wonder, where do I start? What do I do? Last year, what did I tell you we started it with? Right here, let's put it in the camera. See that thumb? There's a place to start, isn't it? The thumb. In other words, if I put my 3 fingers down on 3 strings, right now I've got them on 8, 7, and 6. Now here's a traditional hand where I lean it over. Everybody knows what I mean by that? Okay. I have my traditional hand, and now I have mine where I hold it up flat like that. And it's a little more work, but you have more advantages. But anyway, I'll set for everybody. If you got your guitar, do this with me. Put your picks down here on 8, 7, and 6. All right, now, as I look at your hand, look at his thumb pick. Stay right there. Look at how, now, what's the thumb pick in relationship to the string? Do you see a problem there? Yeah. How are you going to pick that string? You're going to flub it right into your first finger, aren't you? Yep. So I want you to turn your thumb out like that a little bit. Flat against the string. Wow. Everybody see that now, how he's flat? Now he's got somewhere to pick. Now I want you to take, and without moving the string, just take and move I want you to move the string. Don't push it, no, just move it, move it. Feel that power of moving the string? Well, that pressure is the start of the picking motion. Let's take it right down to the absolute basics for these. Are you understand what I mean, you beginner guys? See what I'm talking about? It's about how he had it before. Now he's got a chance to pick. Now I want you to take that pick and push it straight through. Push it straight through the string, right to the next string. No, you're flicking. You're flicking. Oh. Yeah, now that's picking. Now flick it. Do the flick thing. Watch. That's flicking. No, 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 no. There's no tone there. Everybody with me? All right, now you do it and push through. And push it there. A solid stroke. Now, did the tone just jump right off the guitar, didn't it? Okay. Everybody with the guitar. Everybody that don't have your guitar, understanding what I'm talking about by flicking and pushing through the string. But what I'm talking about is I want your pick flat on the strings. Okay, now if you had your thumb, I would sit there and go. See me go through the string? Now as I go through, if I'm doing a fast move, it's still that powerful stroke going through the string. And that's how I'd start. And then I'd learn it across the strings. We went over this last year. What I mean by across the strings is this. Watch. Pick 12. I'm playing a universal. Don't matter what it's tuned to right now. We don't care. Double neck. You can do these drills on any guitar, any tuning. Lap steel, Telecaster. Turn it over, set it in your lap. String's a string. I'm going across the strings. And I'm just going from string to string. But the key to that is what, look at my right hand. Have you seen people do this? They take their finger here and lock down, but then they have this range of movement, which you have to have. So I'm across the strings with my thumb. And it's just a drill. Now I go back down. But now, are you guys looking at my other fingers? What they're doing? Notice when my thumb, watch me pick with my thumb. Now watch me move up. They all go right back down. Because most of you play like this. You learn to play with the thumb and second finger. So if you did that drill, you'd go. Your hand's doing this, isn't it? Or I eliminate the hand. All that extra movement. Just a thumb. All I want you to think about right now. All right, I'm right in front. Mr. Williams' guitar. What's your name? JT. JT? As I'm watching JT, I want JT to do what you're doing with your fingers. Now, I want you to do that with just your fingers picking the strings. You're using this whole move to make... Now I want you to get, when you get to the top, I want you to freeze. As you pick, JT, as you come up here, stop. Right, stay right there. Where's your hand? Look at your hand on the TV. Now, if you want to play another note, what do you got to do? You got to make another move, don't you? That's what I'm trying to eliminate. Is that extra? Because watch, JT, same thing. You're doing this extra. Just do it with your fingers. There you go. You see what I'm talking about? The extra fingers? All right? All right, so what I have done, guys, and the beauty of it is the DVD that I'm handing out to you has my 32 moves. I talked about them. They're on the DVD. I'm going to just go through them real quick. Now, here's my moves. I'll do them with my thumb. I'm just doing them on 8, 7, and 6. See the 3 fingers? First move you learn, thumb. Second move. Now, when I do the thumb, everybody look. Look at the first and second finger. Where are they? Ready to go. Oh, gee, I didn't have to move to do that, did I? See? Second move. Watch this. Watch. The key of this second move is the thumb and second finger. Watch. What's the sun? Oh, look. See, I got another move right ready to go. JT's going up like here, so he's eliminating possibilities by doing that. It's hard. I tell you guys what. It's hard at first to put this into your hands. It's not that doing all that movement, but once you do, you're going to see the advantages. Now I'll go to the second finger and look at all right, look at mine. The thumb and first finger stay home. I'll get rid of that other finger. You guys don't wear that pig. You see it? All right, there's our first group, and I called them the singles. Now, I learned to work my fingers in groups of 2. Thumb and 1 together, watch. Now, you don't realize, but to your body, that's a new move. I mean, it's silly. It thinks, well, I can do this, I can do this, and I can do this, but each one is individual. Now when I start thumb and 1 together, thumb and 2 together, 1 and 2 together. Okay, now I went through the groups of 2. Now what I do is I say, let's alternate some things. I'll take my singles, thumb and 1. Alternate back and forth. Thumb and 2. 1 and 2. So I go thumb 1, thumb 2, 1, 2. Without even moving my fingers. Potential there, okay. Now I move on to where I'll do thumb and 1 and 2 together. Now you got, I mean, I see though, everybody looking at me like, what the heck is he doing? All these movements are what you use to play the licks you want to play. You guys are sitting here trying to play licks with hands that won't do what you want. I mean, how many have tablature at home? How many bought some tablature? How many have it? How many can sit down and just play it? Oh, here we go. You know what I'm saying though? I mean, if you have the tablature, you should be able to sit down and just play it. Because your hands should be ready to go and trained. But that's not how you was taught. You was taught to buy a tablature, set it in front of you, and work on it for hours and hours and hours until you finally get it. Now, nobody told you inside of all that what's going on. In other words, you have the tablature, but they didn't tell you like how to train your fingers and prepare you to play tablature. Tablature's fine. Tablature is nothing more than codes for movement. But if you have no movement, having the codes doesn't do you any good. Beginners, these drills, at your first start, you should do more for these drills than anything on your playing. Don't worry about songs. I know everybody wants, oh man, but I got to play Look at Us by John Huey. Okay, sit down and try to play it with beginner hands. Because you don't realize, everybody, when you can do this. All right, oh, I can play a forward roll. What's Joe talking about? Yeah, but add your feet and add your knees, and your body starts going into overload. You've all done it. The simplest things when you're trying to do something, how many, oh, I got that down. Next thing you know, you add a B pedal or some kind of other body movement, and the human brain goes, oh, wait a minute, what just happened there? But now, over years, you become used to doing it. And that's why if you can just learn to break down the moves and start working on them slowly, you'll be, well, that just sends that into. And then I'll just as I go through my groups, if we did thumb 1, so then we got 1 thumb. Any move has an opposite. And if you learn a move on a different finger, it's a new move to your body. It's just the way we are hardwired. Very few of us that aren't that way. Thumb 1, thumb 1. Okay, 1 thumb is a new move. Now let's take thumb. I'm going to put them on 8, 6, and 5 in C. You've all done that. Key of C, fret 8, 8, 6, 5. Now watch me play through some of the ones we've talked about. Singles, 2s, all right, I just went through a few moves and played something without moving there was no. Because if I did that, my hands up here, JT, you have to go back, you have to make another move to play another note. Now, of course, now there's showbiz where you're going. Okay, yeah, we'll let you do that one, but when you're down there and you're trying to play, I mean, you ain't got time to bring your hand up, do you? Because why? How many have you gotten? You're bringing your hand up, and you're bringing your hand up, and you look at me and you go, I just can't get any speed. That's why. You're making too much of a move here, and it's sort of like knocking on a door. If you walk up to a door, and you're doing this, knock, 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 knock. Well, how fast can you knock on the door before you just can't go any faster? In the licks that I'm playing, something like small moves to get them, unless you're going. That finger out there, I love that. Anybody questions about your fingers? Like I said, yes sir, I got a question back there.
It appears that, when you play normal guitar, your thumb is curled more than straight. I mean, talking
Yeah, we're talking
And
standard
so
guitar.
we have to get to the point where we kind of lock this thumb out more. Lock the
Well, when I play regular guitar just like I do this. I want my pick flat out. In other words, the whole concept of one of these instruments is the vibrating string. Same as a guitar. The only thing difference between this guitar and a regular guitar is our strings are suspended. Right? We're playing a suspended string instrument. A guitar is a fretted instrument. So, but the right hand on a guitar to me, and the right hand on a steel, there's common words between it's a pedal steel guitar. This thing is a guitar, just like an electric, like a Telecaster, only you hold it different. You pick the string technically the same way. You might use a flat pick, but still with a flat pick, you can turn to get different tones with a flat pick on a guitar where you're doing that. But you're still what? It's still the stroke of how well you vibrate that string. I mean, so if with your hand, when it's flat, if I'm doing this like that, did you hear the difference immediately? You worried about your tone, now you see some of the things where, now, I've talked about the thumb, I want to talk about the first finger. Coming back, see that move? I'll move my thumb. A lot of times people will hold it like that. Look, when I go down like this, and I do use the palm blocking, so like, why don't hear that? Now watch, pick. The difference between Paul and, mostly for me, is just the tone I can get by rotating my hands. How many here when you play, you rotate your hands from this position to, oh, just me? Oh, okay. Why? Because I've trained my hands to do that. That just didn't come along by some oddball happenstance. I sat for hours, people. I mean, when your cuticles start bleeding and you notice blood on your guitar, and you're into it. Okay. Now I'll take and do these drills. All right, my moves. Let's talk about alternating one thumb. So I'll go. Across the strings. So as I do that, I'm getting all kinds of drills. And the hardest thing people have and what you have is going from string to string. If I get most people, and you play on 4, 5, and 6, and guys can sit there and do stuff. But now if I say, I want you to go. So I was going. No, I didn't do anything, nothing in D, is all in D. To G. So I'll just watch my hand drop as I go through the. The key was being able to go. Your triad grips. You should do these drills for this stuff, especially you beginner, over and over till this stuff becomes automatic and it's not, you're hesitant. How many here have been? Having them in your head's great, but guess where they have to be? In your hands. So I can't come to your house and do your practice for you. Okay? That's all up to y'all. So, first move is just the thumb. Right? We talked. Next move is just learning to do the first finger. The next move would be just to learn to do the second finger. Okay? And then I start doing groups of 2, thumb and 1 together. Thumb, like I said, they're on the DVD. But now, if we add the equation, why I want you to learn things separate is the human body, when you're doing your right hands and you add the left hand, I mean, up here, that's like, chewing gum and, walking. It adds, even though you think you got it, and it's harder than you think just to do them simple things. But then what I do is I take this hand and we'll add this real quick. So if I take the thumb and I add a mood to it, the left hand, the smallest move I can make is a slide. Thumb, slide. And I write an X. In other words, X means don't pick. So if I said on the 10th string, at the 1st fret, I want you to slide to the 2nd fret. Everybody understand that? Thumb pick, slide up 1 note. That's about as simple as it gets. I mean, but Joe, I'll practice that all the way up the guitar. With the thumb, dun, 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 dun. Boring. As boring as it gets. As boring as it gets. But the proof is in the pudding. When I play, my fingers don't have to dance all over the place. They are doing what they need to do, small move. So we take thumb, slide. And then we'd work on what? 1 slide. First finger and added a move with the bar. Sounds easy? 2 slide is what we work on next. So I would go through all these drills, and you can do them. How many sit at your guitar and watch TV and don't even have it turned on in practice?
What the guitar and TV?
Oh no, I'm watching basketball or football, but I'm sitting at my guitar going underneath. I don't need to hear it. If it don't feel right, it won't sound right. Write that down. If it don't feel right, it won't sound right. You know when you hit the string good or not, especially if you've been playing 20 years. He knows, but we don't have to hear it. He knows if he did it right. See if I can write licks in my head. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the strings. All right, we got these strings. So I'm just going to take some of our moves we talked about and create some licks using this 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's go to the 8th fret, all right? That's what that means, 8th fret. So we're at your guitar on an E8 tuning at the 8th fret. And let's see, we can do one of my moves is what? All of them together. Thumb, 1, 2, picks 4, 5, and 6. How many have done that before? Jing, you play a whole chord. So we go jing. So now the potential for licks, if I'm in C, I can use my B pedal, my A pedal. All the notes underneath are all within C. I can flat my E's right there. Could I raise my E's and still be in C? No, because I'd have a C sharp. C sharp is not happy in the key of C unless you're a jazzer. And it's real happy, used a lot. But now I'll take it and I'll just say, I'll pick that and I'll say, okay, I'm going to pick a chord. I'm just going to pick my thumb. So I go chord, thumb. Do it for me. Thumb and just your thumb. No. Put your fingers back down on the guitar. Pick it. That's the chord. Now set back down and then do your thumb. So be dum, dum. Now you let it ring and do this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. While I see him doing that, I'm going to show you what he's doing so I can explain it. I won't put my picks on because how many here, if you didn't have fingers, would buy picks? Fingers come first. So I'll do it on 4, 5, and 6. I'm doing it open because I got this in my hand. So you're doing this. You're going. That's not what I wrote. I wrote. Oh, sorry. See what I did? I went. Stop it. Pick the thumbs. If I wanted them to ring, I'd show them things continuing. But on the tab, I didn't. Everybody understand that? Okay, so we got that. In other words, that's hard. It's not, I mean, I don't have to teach you to just sit and pick the strings with your fingers coming up because everybody does that naturally. The hard part is going back down and controlling them. There you go. Slow down. Do it slowly. Do it slowly. All right, so now I got the thumb, and I did a thumb by itself. So we'll do that. Now let's say, I'll add another chord after it. So I go jump, thumb, down. All right, now I can do this one, and then do a chord. Then 2, and then do a chord. So what do? I put a triad, all 3 in unison. Everybody with me? Thumb 1, 2. That means boom, on strings 4, 5, and 6. And then I want you to hit a thumb. Then I want you to play the chord again. Then I want you to play your first finger. Then I want you to hit a chord again, and then play your second finger, and then hit a chord again. Everybody understand that? How many can execute it? Understanding and execution is 2 different things. as we look at that, I had the singles in between the chord. I mean, every move you can make is a potential lick somewhere. And if you can't make the move, you can't play the lick. So if you got this lick in your head you want to hear, or you've heard somebody else play, and you don't have the tools, what are you doing? Spinning wheels. Frustration is super. It goes through the roof, doesn't it? I mean, we've all been there. 20 years, so in about 1, 2, and 3 was just like pull your hair out. You know, I've been, just so frustrating, especially when it's because you see people do it and you go, oh, that looks so easy. I wonder how many bought your steel thinking, man, that hey, that looks easy. And then you get a hold of it and you sit there, and what it is, why it's so hard is because you got everything going at once. And you haven't trained any of them separately. And here you are trying to train, or what we call practice, and you're just sitting there fumble, fumble, stumble, fumble, stumble, fumble. Don't get no harder than that. Don't get no harder, especially, I don't know what you guys want to play. You want to play fast, you want to play ballads, you want to play hip hop, you want to play just gospel, you want to play country. What? They all take your hand. They all take this. So the more you have to deliver, the more you're going to get out of your guitar. And if you want to learn what all the pedals do, what does it take? The hands. You want to learn the key of C all over the guitar, what are you going to do? The hands have to deliver. It always goes back to these babies. The more you develop them, the better off you'll be. So, everybody understand this little lick? Let me play it. C. I'll do it in E. That was just playing that. Now that was just in straight note. We haven't talked about phrasing. Everybody understand when I talk about phrasing? So in other words, if I play da 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 da, I can phrase it a bunch of different ways. The same thing. Musically, I can do it all kinds of ways. First, only the moves we talked about. Let's add some left-hand moves to it. So if I told you to play thumb at 8 and slide to 10, we understand that? So what is that? That's a thumb move with a left-hand slide added to the thumb. That's what I want you to see, is adding movement. In other words, you take a simple move of the thumb and go boom and vibrate the string, and you take a simple move of the left hand and go down, up 1 fret. Now, how many have sat and practiced just doing that? Up the neck and back. That's the ingredients. That's good. You can't get any better practice. Repetitions of these little drills. If you got a lick you play well, then you start playing that lick about 100 times, just over and over and over. Why would you do that? That repetition, not only are you building up stamina, right? Stamina, being able to, how many here have ever played a 4-hour gig? How many in the 4-hour gig, about 2 hours into it, they give you a solo and your forearm right here starts talking to you? I mean, when the muscles go, but this is a physical, it takes our muscles. How many have done the thing where you're playing, your feet are working the pedals and you're sitting there going da 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 da, and right about here in your shin, the shin splints, that muscle just starts screaming, stop, stop, and you know what? You're only halfway through the song. You know what I mean? It takes. Right now, I got to play 30 minutes this whole weekend, so I don't need any stamina. I can blow it all out in one 30-minute set. So it's like, but if you got a 4-hour, dance gig or band gig, it takes stamina. You've been on them gigs where you just don't deliver. How many have been right in the middle of the solo and forgot what song you're playing? Hey, been there, done that. Huh? Halfway through it, I don't know what key I'm in, I don't know. Oh, been there. The beauty of a steel, though, what can you do then? Find a note you like? Noodle. There's all kinds of bailouts. There's nothing more frustrating with 50,000 people looking at you going, I have no idea what song this is all of a sudden. Been there. All right, we got that, simple slide. So then I'll go, I'm at 10, I'm at the 10th fret, so I'll go up here to the 5th string, and I'll say pick with the first finger and slide on. We're gonna go 10 to 11. All right? See how easy that was? But I want you to see this move. What happens here? If I took out the dash X on either one of them, what's the simple little move the right hand does? It's a thumb 1 alternate, right? Everybody with me? Now watch this. I'm going to erase this. I'll erase this. So what is the right hand doing? That's a thumb 1 alternate. Now I'll write them back in. Thumb slide, 1 slide. So taking a thumb 1 alternate, we've added a half step slide. Or here's a whole step slide and a half step slide. And I'll continue this out by saying 2, just play it 11. So let me go over to the guitar and just play that little bit. I'll play it right in the key of C. I won't use my picks. So I'll go. That's that. Everybody understand that? This represents the key of C on an E9th guitar. So I see my front row, I have 4 E9ths. We're all playing E9s. All the guitars in here are E9s. Okay? So if I go to there, I'm talking about string. Oh, God, Joe. Sorry, guys. What I played was this. On this one was 8, 7, 6, 5. That's all. It is da, da, da. So let's go over here to this and find that on here. Now, anybody, how many is this is Greek? How many is looking at Greek here? How many have slight clue what this is? All right. How many know what 1 means? 2 means? How many don't? Okay. I know there's more don'ts. I didn't see enough hands for the don'ts. I can tell by the eyes. You don't need to raise your hand. All right. If I look at, this means, look here, everybody. String 1, follow me. String 2 is to string 10 along the side. So this is the frets. I'm starting at fret 1. So if I said string 1, fret 1, that box represents the intersection on your guitar of the first string and the first fret. Everybody with me on that? So if I told you to go to the string 8, fret 8, that'd be right there. That box represents where string 8 and fret 8, boom, that note right there. This is the number system for scales. In other words, all the 1s on this chart are C's. All the 2s are 3s, 4, F, 5, 6, 7, B boy. All right, so it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, period. Once you retune that guitar, push a pedal, this is what happens. Now let's go to the first string. Where is C on your first string?
6.
Fret 6. So if you just had this chart in your E9th guitar, you know where all your notes are right now. You could name your notes. If I said fret 7, string 8, what's the note? All right, it's right there. Fret 7, string 8's a 7. That's a B in the key of C. Now if I told you fret 6, string 8, what note?
B flat.
B flat. How many understand that? How many got it? How many don't? Okay. So we can tell where all our notes are. But if you notice, depending on what the string, what's the first string on the E9 tuning tuned to? F sharp. So what would be, if it's 0, it's F sharp, so the first fret would be what? Be G, wouldn't it? Here's your 5. So if you notice, there is a pattern on every string. There's a C scale on every string, but depending on what it's tuned to, the pattern changes. So if I go over to that, what I just wrote, I'm going like, da, slide into here, right? So I'm playing what notes? C to D. Da. And then I go up one string, right there. Da. And then da, 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 da. How many here know what notes those are now? How many played them before and didn't have a clue? You just played it. You don't get no harder than that, boy. Especially when the band says, well, play this scale. You go, play this note or play this. But this will give you something to study. I'll tell you what, if you take one of these, put it up on your wall like I did. I used to have these in the color. I got color ones, and they'd be up on the wall in my apartment. Key of C, key of C sharp, key of D. I would stare at them for hours and just, if you had this chart and a year from now I quizzed you on it and you studied it every day for a year, you'd know where all your notes are. And if you learn nothing else at this seminar, study that chart. You should know it by, if I quiz you on any string, on any note, you should be able to go, boom. Because what's your fifth string tuned to? How many know what the notes of the guitar are starting out? Open. You had to tell somebody, I need to tune my strings. How many know? How many don't know your notes? I think there's a lot more don't knows. They can't. They have this arm thing going on. Yeah. In other words, it'll make your playing, if you understand why, so much more opens up. But once you know the why, this part of it, then what does this come back to? To play that, it took what? Our hands, once again. So what we got there, if I took out the slides, this is a forward roll. Everybody know what a forward roll is? On your guitars? Forward roll. Do you? Drum 1, 2, right. How about if I play one and watch my fingers?
Joe, when you look at that scale, do you think number 1 as C or do you think it's a C? I mean, do you think the note, the number 1 in the scale, or do you think?
I think the function. I don't need to know the name of the note if I know how it's functioning. You know what I mean by that? By what I'm saying by how it's functioning? I'm going to go over here. And you see this here? I'm going to put, that's a number 1, that's C. I'm going to put a 2 in that little square, and it tells the computer Excel to change that to, ooh, look at here. Same thing, everything's the same, but what just happened?
Frets.
I changed keys. Now 1 is C sharp. So this is, the numbers are generic as the function. 1 is the function of where are we starting? 2 is still a second interval away from 1. 3, but we got a new key starting. But I know how the notes function. So if I go to the 9th fret, what chord formula does it take to make a major chord? You need a 1, a 3, and a 5. So if I go here, 1, 3, 5. Isn't that a nice little C sharp chord? All stacked up. You played it many times. All right, let me go back to C so we don't get, because I'll tell you, C sharp make your eyeballs cross. At the first open guitar, E ninth, no tuning, can you play a C sharp chord? I got a no. Anybody else? Open. No.
Second, third pedals down, right?
No. A pedal and F lever.
A pedal?
Yeah, your A pedal and your F lever. On strings 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10, open, you have an E chord, no pedals. You press A, B down, what do you get? An A chord. You hit your A and your F lever, it's C sharp. Without moving. See, I had to quiz you on that. So if you went to the 1st fret, what 3 chords can you get on 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10 using them same pedals? Open is what?
F.
F. A, B down is what?
B flat.
B flat. A and F is what?
D.
D dog. Now we're in the key of C. Now, look at the 11th fret. We got 1, 3, 5s lined up. That's what happens when you push your pedals. it changes it. So if you push your A pedal and your F lever, you know what I'm talking about when I tell you that. A pedal, what does your A pedal do?
Raises string 6.
What does your A pedal do? I'm going to give you a secret. Let's call that pedal let's call it the 510 pedal. Does that make sense to you now? It's the 510. What strings does it actually function on? 5 and 10. So your middle pedal, if I told you to call that the 3-6 pedal, does that make more sense to your beginner brain? Right? This is on DVD last year. I tell this every time. Because ABC has nothing to do with music. It had to do with writing it down for notation. No, nothing to do with music. Because most beginners, they go, oh, A pedal. I push that, I get an A. No, you don't get an A chord by pushing the A pedal. You bend strings 5 and 10. So I told you, you got 5-10, 3-6, and 45. Does that make sense to you? That's what they do when they function. It's just like this scale. This is the function of stuff. Now this is pedal 1, and down here you can't see it because it's blocked. It says K2. So in other words, we raised 5, a half, plus 2. So now when I go to the 11th fret, look at here. 1, 3, 5 on strings 3, 4, and 5. There's a, look, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1. What's our strings I said? 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Well, look, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Golly gee, we got C chord triads lined up. Because everybody understands that this is after you push a pedal. Now I can show you, and in my thing, this is what I consider layers of guitars. I mean, if I'm open and I hit this, I have a C-sharp tuning. If I push A-B down open, I have an A6 tuning. If I don't have any pedals going on, open, I have an E9. But there are layers of guitars. In other words, if I tell you right now, we've frozen, if you push your A pedal, now hit your F lever. Now stop, don't do nothing. That's what you have. You can freeze and play from there. I mean, I started with lap with no pedals, so if I had to do it all with my hands. Nowadays, we've got all these pedals to confuse us. And they do a hell of a job, don't they? Because, I mean, it's what happens is you got to increment your learning because there's an overload. You overload. I mean, there's so much going on, it takes a lot to do it. Now, C sharp would be open. If this is C at 11, if I moved it up 1 to 12, 12 is the same as 0. That would be their C, so C sharp would line up right under here. So if I told the spreadsheet, let's change keys, look at here, look at fret 12. There's our 1, 3, 5s to make our chords, right? So 12 is the same as what? 24? Huh? 0, open. So that's why we have a C sharp chord at open. You never knew why it was there, did you? You just sort of played it. I used to be that way. I just played. I played since I was a little kid, didn't know anything. Until I was about 27, I started studying. And found out, and when I learned the why, it was like it opened up new doors for your playing. But I had hands that could deliver it. That's the key. Okay, let's go back to the key of C. So I think we looked at it open. I'm going to go to A, B down.
Is this something you've written in Excel?
Yes.
Do you have the program, perchance?
It's downloadable on the internet. What do you mean? You got to pay with a credit card, and you can have. And not only does it have, it has E9, C6, universal, guitar, banjo, dobro, 4-string bass, 5-string bass, 6-string bass, violin, viola. They're all the same. Every instrument I just talked about, banjo, dobro, are all the same to me. Why? A string is a string. I don't care what instrument you put it on. What's the difference between a fiddle, and a steel? Pardon? Strings the same? No, it's bowed. How do we make it vibrate? It's the difference of the stringed instruments. The piano is a stringed instrument. but it's a hammered stringed instrument. A hammer comes up and vibrates a string. A steel guitar is a pick. A regular guitar is picked. So, but the strings function the same. I mean, a bass guitar, the E string, when you pick it, it vibrates. And when you shorten it, it gets higher note. When I do shorten it here, the only thing I shorten my note by sliding the bar. You do it, bass guitar or guitar wraps your finger around the fret. Any questions? This is your guitar with both of your pedals pushed down. So I could sit down and do this and write a song without moving my pedals. In other words, A6. So if we want to find a C6 with AV down, let's go to the 3rd fret. Anybody see a C6 chord? What would it take to have a C6? Formula. 1, 3, 5, A. 1, 3, 5, 6. Well, look at here. 1, 3, 5, 6. There's a C6 chord. 1, 3, 5. You can have the 6 there. You put the 5 there. On what strings again? You're adding 7 to get the 6. So how many, you seen guys tune their guitar to A6? No, I just push my pedals down. I tune it to A6. Layers. I see these as layers of tunings. Now this is only one scale. This spreadsheet will do 54 different scales. So, imagine the possibilities. I got all these pedals and moves. And to me, just pushing like your A pedal, you're in a C sharp minor tuning. You've seen those? I mean, open it, C sharp minor. See all the different tunings you have. We can discuss tunings for days. We can just discuss tunings for days, but still it comes back to delivery. I said it last year, I liked it. You train to deliver. Your hands have to deliver. You train them. And I'm not talking, and it's a process, but it's a lot of, I practice right up to the point of fatigue. No pain, just man, my arm's tired. Okay, that's good. Next day, you'll get up and be a little stiff, so what do? You move on from there. You keep plugging at it.